Hello and welcome back to Smash or Trash Independent Filmmaking, March 2024. I'm Robert Long, who runs the website as well as these videos that are being put on here. So it's been a while since anything has been put together for you kind folks. Before I get started, I want to say that I am really getting back into the thick of things. There's going to be a lot more reviews and interviews. This one's a how-to, so these are going to be going up. And so I've also got a GoFundMe, which should be listed below in the links, going on to become executive producers. If you donate something towards me to help keep things running along, and you get an executive producer for all the rest of 2024 for helping me out on the website as well as these videos. But enough about that. I've got a new set background for Smash or Trash, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And the inspiration is from movies that we've all seen and all loved, probably from sci-fi movies such as Star Wars and Alien, and to a lesser extent the TV show Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's got that mechanical, complicated, geometric look to it, which I love. So I had actually, this was 3 panels at one time. I've condensed it down into one, and it's here in my living room. It sits above my couch, and it still needs some work done to it, but we'll talk about that. But I'm going to tell you about how you can do something like this for your movies. And it's really not as bad, it's really not as complicated as you might think it is. So the first thing I started off with is I needed big pieces of cardboard to lay this out on. So what I did is, where I work, we get fixtures in very large boxes, so I was able to cut them down, take them in my car and bring them home here. Now this is about 2 pieces of cardboard, or 3 thick, and the biggest things you're going to need besides a cutting knife, your biggest friends are going to be a drill, as well as a hot glue gun. What I did was I started out with, this is probably a 3 by 6, 3 by 7 piece of cardboard when all said and done. And what it is it's 3 pieces of the cardboard basically hot glued together, so it's got some stability. What I did after that is, there's a technique that was brought about way back in the 76, 77 when they were doing Star Wars, where people would collect what would be known as nirnies or greebies, however you want to pronounce them. But it's basically odd modeling parts, odd pieces of plastic that could be all super glued together to create interesting things like the spaceships or the Death Star trench. So I have been collecting for a very long time. I've got about 3 boxes of caps and containers and different little bottles that I'm able to cut apart and re-glue together in a configuration that looks nice and complicated. And so, I mean, here's a sample. You know, I mean, I've got just, in this right here, I've got just a few different plastic pieces. It's just what you can save up. You know, if you're living with somebody, try to keep it neat so they're not, you know, you're not driving them crazy by having this stuff all over the place. But yeah, you can start putting together interesting little sidebar control panels and stuff. This right here, I mean, this is all stuff that I've just found over the last few years. This is a handle, this is part of a pin, and this is a pill bottle. And what it's going to become is a lever. once I built that into an actual piece of the prop. Once I got the cardboard laid down, I had to start getting the greebies laid out, the nurnies, because before I paint anything, this is all going to be glued down. What I started to do is I started to lay out some of the different pieces that I had collected all this time until I got something that I really liked. I mean, this right here, what looks like vents and pieces of machinery, these are cookie boxes from this the supermarket, just plastic cookie boxes, and these are Easter chocolate crosses. You know, paint can tops. We've got some laundry detergent tops. I mean, it's just what right behind me here is a squirt gun. So it all comes down to making it look interesting, and maybe starting to develop some patterns. So that all started being hot glued down, which works pretty well. But you do have to make sure that it's pressed down tight and it sets. As it is, this has been moved many times. I have to do it myself. So it does get knocked around a little bit. It could probably use a little bit of repair at this moment. So that just means getting back in with some hot glue. Anyways, so once I hot glued down most everything that I wanted in the way that I needed it to be, then I went to Walmart and I picked up really cheap gray paint. I think it was like $10 or $11 for a can of it. So and back then I was actually doing much more sets. This is only one panel. I was doing 3 or 4. So that was a pretty good investment because it comes off lighter on camera than it is. That's one thing that you have to keep in mind, is that when you start going light gray, it can start looking almost white once you get lights and stuff on it. So but I basically gave everything 1 or 2 coats of this light gray, just to make it all uniform, just to make it look like it started to gel together, like it was all part of one thing. And so after that was done, I started going, okay, well, we've got to have some color on here. So I use translucent or transparent colored plastics that I've saved, you know, and hopefully you can put some lights or something behind them. Speaking of lights, well, I feel that this needs a lot more than what's on here, but this is a start. This is only one set of Christmas lights that I cheaply got off of Amazon, or I got at Walmart or something. And between you and me, yeah, I want them blinking. I think the blinking bulb is actually on the back of this panel, so I have to take this off, put the blinking bulb in, so it can start going. But as you can see, it could use at least 3 times what you're seeing here, but this is a good start. And what's done is, again, very carefully, I basically found out how much space was in between each light on the string. And I started looking it over, and with a drill, I started drilling in spots at even intervals where I was going to put the lighting in. Once that was done, I used the hot glue gun on the back and just carefully kind of glued the lights on the back of this in place so they wouldn't fall out. And I also had to make sure of which way the plug was going to be facing, because it's got to get to an outlet. So the outlet is on this side, plugged into an extension cord and into the wall. So we got some lights in there. We got some beautiful colored lights in there. Something else that needed to be thought of is that if this is going to be used for a mad laboratory, or if this is going to be used for the side of a spaceship cockpit or something, you want some screens going on. So I've got 2 or 3 places here where I have painted areas to be kind of like green screen green. Now, truth be told, it's a little uneven, so I'm going to go back over it one of these days soon to repaint something a little bit more even on all of those surfaces so that it keys out better and I can get actual screens back there. Once that was done, you know, it's all coming together pretty quickly. How I had to put this, I mean, you know, I'm doing this alone, so how I had to get this up on the wall is I had to get a card table out and basically lean this up on the edge of the card table so that I could push it back and get the screwdriver tip of the drill to basically screw it in 2 or 3 places into the wall at the top and a couple places at the bottom, because I didn't want to deal with nailing. I mean, I want something that's going to be somewhat easy to take down if I need it to be, and so, you know, I could just do that. And, you know, once I got that up and I got the thing plugged in there, and now I've got a mad scientist background that I can use for these videos. Or I will let my friends in the area, my local filmmakers, come by and use it if they want to. Now, something that has to be said is nothing on here is a working piece of a prop. In other words, it's all for looks. None of the there's no buttons that work. There's nothing gets pushed in. Nothing can be turned on. So that has to be kept in mind, that if you want to do something like that, you're going to have to think ahead. I had done a lot of thought on this, but it's not like I had a diagram. I just went about using pieces from CD cases and different, basically different moldings and buttons and bottle caps, and came up with this, which I'm pretty happy with. Now, over time, it's going to change. I'm going to add more to it. I'm going to probably reinforce it, make it look better, maybe do some repainting to make it look a little neater. One thing about TV and movies is that it looks great on screen. It doesn't look as good close up. And I know this from working on movies. But with high definition these days, you want to make it look as good as you can. So this is what's going on with the set. That's how you do something like that. You save up scraps of plastic and interesting shapes. You have a hot glue gun. You get some gray paint. You get a drill, and basically you start laying it out to something that looks neat and repetitive to you and complicated, and you can start getting that Star Wars or that Aliens look. And obviously Mystery Science Theater 3000, where they used toilet seats and old toys for the backgrounds of their walls. Anyways, I hope that this has inspired you some. I really hope to do a lot more. I'm not going to make a promise of one of these a week, but I would love to start getting some steam going on this again, and start getting the reviews and interviews and how-tos like this back up. So thank you for checking in. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you are a filmmaker, or if you're just somebody who likes to learn about this interesting sci-fi and horror stuff that I've been working on for decades, I hope to see you again. And be sure to check in on Smash or Trash, and if you're interested, please help me with the GoFundMe. You become an executive director for the rest of the year. Thank you very much.